Communication is always important in any situation. Some high schools, especially bigger ones, are having more difficulty communicating to all their students about their education. In comparison, colleges have bigger campuses which require more students to deliver effort to stay on the same page.
One thing that I think our school could improve on would be there is a lack of communication, I feel, especially between the counselors and the students. I know that I'm kind of terrified of my counselor, and I'd rather go to other counselors than my own, because I know, because people say, oh, well, she'll do anything for you, while mine is kind of like out there, and I don't really speak to her that much.
Every professor here has office hours. There are times of the day where they set aside time that they guarantee that they're going to be in their office. And they might be working on something if nobody comes in to see them, but really they're there in case somebody needs to come in and talk to them about class or whatever's going on, anything. And so I think a lot of times students, for reasons that I understand, because it's hard to just come into somebody's world like that, and but I think you have to kind of get over that and realize that the only way you're going to get your full money's worth out of college is to get to know some of the professors and some of your teachers.
It hurts our feelings if students don't show up, and they often don't. So the student should always assume that the professor does have time, will make time to see them. We really expect that as part of our responsibility.
Sometimes it's really difficult communicating with counselors or teachers about your future, especially if you are one of the thousands in the school. However, it is critical that every student take charge of their future. Build a network with teachers and officials that can give you advice, recommendation letters, or connections.
We can't help students if they don't seek us out, though. So it's really, the student needs to know that even though it's a big, big university, the professors are there to help them. In some cases, it may be a graduate student assistant who would be the one to see them first. But we have folks in place to help them if they'll just come and see us.
The American education system attempts to focus on preparing students for college. However, not all students will go to college. High schools need to refocus the purpose of education.
That's one thing I regret, is that I didn't take AP Lang and get my writing skill a little better instead of just taking a general education English class. What I wanted to do was be an author. And I mean, it's hard, but it's really easy too. I mean, so long as you're good with your English, like your English is perfect and spot on, it's so long as you love to write, you have to have a passion for it. And yeah, going to college would have helped, but it wasn't what I had expected, what I had wanted out of my school. If you're in my situation, and you're going through, everybody else is going to college, I don't really know that I want to go, but I kind of want to go, but I don't know that I want to go, and you're bouncing back and forth and playing a game of tennis with yourself. Think about it, okay? Don't sit there and say, okay, everybody else is going, so I'm going to go with the flow and I'm going to go too.
Well, I mean, for people who don't want to go to college, maybe taking those classes could change their mind, maybe, and then they would want to go to college and get a better education.
Well, AP is not for everybody, and some students may not be invited to take AP courses, but they can still challenge themselves. I mean, there's no reason in a course why they have to accept the minimal requirement. They can push themselves with more advanced problems, more math problems, more reading, and this kind of thing. And they can also develop, interest outside of the classroom of an academic nature. They can read in subjects maybe they're not even taking a class in. So I think everyone who wants to go to college, who's willing to work hard in high school, can prepare themselves well, even if they're not maybe functioning at the level that would get them into AP classes right away.
American College Testing, better known as the ACT, conducted research on college and workforce readiness. Their study has concluded that whether a student is going straight to college after high school or a student is going into the workforce, all students will need a comparable level of readiness in both reading and math.
At our school, at least, I'm not sure about other high schools, but we have like West Campus, and the classes there focus on engineering and I think carpentry and agriculture. And we have programs like EAST. I don't really know what it stands for, but I think it's supposed to be targeted to the students who don't really want to have that 4-year college education. And if they don't want that, I think there's also vocational schools out there. So you might not be in a classroom setting, but you're still getting hands-on training for what you might be interested in.
I think that they should take like the more advanced classes if they aren't planning on going to college. Because if they take like AP classes, then they are going to learn more, in my own opinion. And I think that if they don't go to college but they take AP courses, then they will have more backup knowledge.
In this day and age and in this economy, it's a big mistake to think that you don't need to go to college. Most of the jobs are going to be well-paying jobs, require more than a high school diploma now. They just do. It's just a fact of life. And so while a high school senior may think, gee whiz, I can make plenty of money by going straight into the workplace, but their definition of what's plenty of money may be different 5 years from now than it is the day they graduate. And so I would encourage every student who's able to finish high school to give serious thought to some post-high school study. It may be beginning in a community college. That's great. Community colleges serve a very important place. It may be going to a 4-year college or university right away. That's great too. But I would say that every high school graduate has the potential to go to college. Arkansas has funding through the lottery scholarship to help make that possible. There are scholarships, there's financial aid available, so money doesn't have to prevent you from going. I think that every student really needs to give that serious thought.
College is emphasized everywhere through AP classes, job requirements, and pressure from parents. Students will discuss the reality of it all.
They're focused more on college, and they need to be focusing, at least like giving a little bit more dedication and effort into, if you're not going to college, this is what you need to do. This is what's going to happen as soon as you're out of here, you know? Or having somebody set aside to answer questions, because there are kids that are going to have them, you know, just answering questions, teaching classes about what's going to happen if you don't go to college, what's going to happen after college, you know, what to expect when you go out into the real world.
Society does put some kind of, I guess they put college education on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. Is that the term? Yeah. And I don't know, it's just valued more than the actual skill, which is actually kind of sad because, you know, what is learning in a classroom compared to hands-on learning? Even like, maybe not even from a academic point of view, but even from an extracurricular point of view. Like, I'm president of clubs and I'm part of other clubs, and part of one of the big enticing factors is that, oh, it looks good on your college resume, so join our club. Like, that's our pitching point now. It's not, hey, let's do service because it's good for the community. It looks good on your college resume, so you should join our club because of that.
It does seem to be almost, it's kind of become like high school used to be. You know, having a bachelor's degree in college is almost like having a high school degree back when I was your age. But it's still not quite the same, though, because there's still a lot of ways to make a good living and not have a college degree. I think you have to be trained, though. You have to have some kind of skill that's marketable.
I want to better my education and actually go somewhere in life, like opposed to the people who drop out. I mean, they could get good jobs, but the chances of that are very slim because they didn't finish high school and they didn't go to college.
I think compared to the past, definitely like jobs have been emphasized more. So always there's parents saying, you have to go to college or to get a job. And so college is a lot more emphasized, like Christine said. And so in high school, more and more kids now are like, I need to go to college.
Back in the day, not a lot of, like, for example, our parents' generation, not a lot of people have even bachelor degrees. And so now there are programs for kids with parents who don't have bachelor degrees, and like, you should go to college and all that. But now more and more people are getting bachelor degrees. So now the next level is a master's degree. So now our generation is pushed to get the master's degree. And then who knows, maybe later on everyone's going to be required to get a PhD. And then maybe they'll even add more levels on top of that because it's so attainable and everyone has it at that point.
Yeah, like truthfully, like to not go to college, to me, it seems not, yeah, it kind of seems kind of like unimaginable, sort of.